It is such a better life to be madly in love with myself and feel such a profound sense of beautiful self-worth than to hate myself. And it came from such an authentic place because I feel great. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so like when you feel so great, nothing matters. There are no rules. When I raised money, I met with Sequoia Capital with no meeting, no relationship. If I had read any blog or expert, they would have told me it's not possible. Well, I'm sorry. It was possible for me, and I just walked in.
You just literally walked into the office?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yes.
You're like, hey, I'm a founder. I want to raise money.
Yes. We wouldn't have so much animosity and chaos in our society today if we would all just take a moment to listen to one another and be curious and compassionate. Doesn't mean we need to agree. We could still completely have our own opinion and our own belief system.
Google's Project Aristotle studied 180 teams and found that the number one predictor of the team's success, it wasn't IQ, it wasn't seniority, it wasn't tenure, it was...
Okay.
Hi.
Hey.
Thanks for coming.
Hello.
Espree. Hi. Okay. So today on Don't Be a Jerk,
Yes,
we're diving into a force that turns strangers into allies, companies into movements, and burnout into resilience. A thing that I know you care deeply about.
I do.
Community.
Yes.
I think people can think of community as this kind of like warm, fuzzy idea, but it turns out it's actually rooted in a lot of science. It's a critical driver of mental health.
I thought you were going to say it's rooted in a lot of pain.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah, solving pain. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Also, but you know, it leads to all these things that are so critical. And I was, you know, I joke with I run Boom Pop, which kind of is this company that brings people together, and I always joke that, you know, humans aren't the fastest.
Yeah.
We're not the strongest.
Yeah.
The reason we're the dominant species on this planet is because we work together.
Right.
And that is what community is. And you have an incredible over decade proving this.
Yes.
You know, not only are you a podcaster, which I love, by the way, you're amazing at it. I'm like a little nervous.
It's very sweet.
But you're like a community architect and you're a super connector and you've done women in tech and the tech LA scene. You're just, this is woven in part of your DNA, who you are.
100%.
You bring people together. And even just, you know, meeting you earlier, it's like, it's hard to imagine someone meeting you and not feeling instantly very comfortable.
Oh,
You just
really
bring
sweet.
people in.
Thank
So
you.
anyway, I'm so grateful you're here.
I'm so excited to be here. I consider myself to be an artist of human connection.
Ooh,
So that's how I see my community work.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that, which to me gives so much meaning in
Yeah.
life. So I have a study. I figured I'd try it, and then
Yeah.
we'll see if it's
Yeah, I dig it.
Okay. So there is this university study. It was in the U.S. That found that the proportion of female students
Mm-hmm.
who saw STEM faculty members that were also female
Yeah,
would commensurately rise over time.
right.
And there's this powerful thing about, you know, people kind of always say like, you don't believe it until you see it. But this idea of you need people, you need girls to see what's possible.
Right.
And this is even, I went to like a very, what I would call fancy undergrad school, and I came from Nebraska and I wasn't used to seeing that stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember getting there and being like, oh, I didn't even know this was a possibility.
Yeah.
And there's something about the role of intentionality in that. And so what I'd love to hear, and obviously I want to hear more about women in tech. This is kind of what I'm getting to, of course. But is there a story where you've seen people, because of the community you've created, witness something, and as a result, it opened them up to a future or a life that they didn't otherwise know was a possibility?
So this is actually why I created the Women in Tech podcast. So I myself am a founder, and I went through my own journey. And because I was not told that things were not possible for me, I just went out and did them. I raised money. I built the first social network in the action sports industry. I did all these remarkable things. I didn't really know that they were remarkable. I was just doing things. And then when Women in Tech groups started to be created, I was like, oh, cool. People like me. Let me go. And then the conversation in these groups was how nothing was possible for us.
Oh.
And I'm like, that's weird. I've already raised money. I've already built a team.
You did it all.
I'm like, so obviously it's possible. And I felt there really needed to be an example like this Don't Be a Jerk podcast of more examples of what is possible, because what was being discussed in these things was not my reality. And what is it, like the 5-minute mile or the 1-minute mile? Like the first time someone ran
4-minute mile.
4-minute mile.
Yes.
Like nobody could run it. Then the first time somebody ran it, then a ton of people ran it, and it got more and more every year when they just saw it was possible. So that's the ethos of my show, Women in Tech, is if she can do it, so can I.
Love that.
So that's really the story that resonates with me most, is my own story of like, I wanted to create and show examples of what's possible, what all my guests do and don't do, like in and out throughout the day. Like, I don't know, but I think they're doing courageous things all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you that if you don't see something is possible or have the narrative that it's possible, that you believe simply what you know to believe.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
It's so important to see examples.
Completely agree. So let's talk about that. I mean, you did all these amazing things. I love how you even phrased it. And afterwards you're like, oh, that was amazing. And everyone else was like, yes, that was amazing.
Yeah.
Who were your role models? Like, who were the people that kind of inspired you, that showed you what was possible?
Like my mom is just like creates her own life path. So she always said, every no is one step closer to a yes, you know?
That's great.
And so like having certain, like ways to interact with the world, that I was giving examples of that way. I was into, Richard Branson. I didn't know these people personally, but like Richard Branson building up his thing. And then when I read 4-Hour Workweek, Tim Ferriss. But what I learned from all of these people that I idolized early in my career was the person who has all the answers is myself. I created this saying. I was actually on the phone with a friend, Holly, one day. I was like, my intuition is my oracle.
Yeah.
And I really think that, we all have different life paths. Like I'd say my most profound mentor was Tony Hsieh with Zappos.
Amazing.
And he was a dear friend of mine as well. And he just really showed me that we create our own rules and we need to pay attention to ourselves and be the leader. Even in the book that I'm reading, Transurfing Reality, it's about choosing your narrative on how you see the world. It says like, you can't copy someone else, because how is that being a leader? Like, a leader creates the rules. Like, a leader invents and shows what's possible. And so don't try to follow someone else's journey. Like, become in touch with our own intuition and then step into that discomfort and just do the thing.
Amen.
Regardless of being afraid or whatever.
There's a couple spiritual practices, one of which I subscribe to, where they say that your second mind is your stomach and your intuition.
Yeah.
And you can, you can kind of feel it. Yeah. Like that drop in your stomach. There's these things that happen, and as the philosophy goes, this is your sage, your oracle, that your all-knowing higher self
100%
communicating with you.
Yes. Rick Rubin says we have a relationship with nature, that we have the answers all the time. We just aren't paying attention.
Yeah. I mean, totally. Yeah. So it sounds like, obviously badass mom, which I love to hear, and all these amazing folks who kind of did it, but it sounds like part of it is, it's not just seeing, and this is such a nuance, but I want to hit it. It's not just seeing someone else do the thing that you want to do. It is seeing someone else create the rules they want to create and live the life they want to create. Yes. Which is such a specific.
I love that you said that. Yes. 100. Yes.
That's such an important distinction. Yes. Yeah. No, I love it. I love it. Okay. So I want to talk about, the power people, and there's Adam Grant.
Yes, I read that book. Was it Give and Take?
I'm obsessed. He actually, this is a fun fact, he named this podcast.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I was initially going to call it Hey, Be Nice.
No, I like Don't Be a Jerk.
Yeah. And I was like, what do you think? He said, no, you got to do the negative thing. And I was like, will you be a guest? He's like, maybe. I was like, hopefully one day we'll get him on.
No, he's going to be on. Do you know Harry Stebbings with 20-Minute VC?
Yes.
Yeah. Everybody said no to him until they all said yes. So he'll be on your show.
I love it. Every no is a step closer to yes. Like your mom said, I love it. So look, founders face immense stress. And I think there's a narrative which I'm trying to break too, which is that it's this very isolated, lonely thing, and it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
And so part of one of the things that I try to do as a founder, and I know you do it because you talk about it all the time, is you try to find peer support, like other people to support you. And there was a study, it was in 2022, it was a longitudinal study, and it found that entrepreneurs specifically who engage in regular peer support experienced far less emotional exhaustion, which is the expression there, even when stressors were high. And there's something to be said about when you have a community of supporters around you and you build that up. It's not, I think the mistake you'd be like, oh, you reach out when you need help. No. Like create the community early, invest in that community, and then it's there and it helps 100%. You out later. What does that look like? You are spending a huge amount of your life force in creating community. You're investing in this.
Yes.
And I'm so eager to hear, I'm sure you've run into people that maybe have this kind of like, it's me only mindset.
Right.
When they start to imbue in these communities you create, how do they change?
There's this story that this guy in my community, so I've had We Are LA Tech for over 10 years, and this guy in my community said, We Are LA Tech is the best thing that I've ever been a part of. I was like, that is bullshit. You are in the top accelerators. You have relationships with the most inaccessible VCs. That's literally not possible. And he's like, Espree, We Are LA Tech is the only place where I can be myself.
Oh, wow.
In all those other communities, I have to seem like I'm perfect, so I can never ask the questions I need to ask. Oh. And in We Are LA Tech, I get the support I need. And I'm like, oh,
that's it.
It was crazy to me. And it made so much sense at the same time. And so I think in response to that, it's about having a place to wholly show up ourselves with vulnerability. Yeah. And I think that, especially in the tech world, is what we're so afraid of. We have to look perfect for the venture capitalists. We have to look like emotionally stable. We have to look like we have every single answer. Our fucking financial forecasts that we're all fabricated.
Don't miss it by 2%.
Yeah. Like are spot on. It's like, no, the only thing that is real is our vulnerability and the ability to make choices and the framework in which we make choices by, which is why I feel so excited about your podcast, because I think some people may not even know it's an option to choose the framework of high integrity core values and compassion, curious compassion, all these things. And I think this is what your podcast does for leaders. It educates them on, here is a whole framework that you could still be that, dickhead successful, but be a good person.
But actually not be a dickhead.
Yeah, but actually not be a dickhead. You know what I mean?
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, so I want to, first of all, thank you for that. I appreciate it. I'm putting a lot of work into it, and I hope,
I think I shared, I don't know if I shared it offline, that I used to produce a live talk series called Nice Guys Finish First.
Yes.
Yeah, so like, this is just...
It's all meant to.
Yeah.
So okay. So this is a wonderful parlay. So we're talking about frameworks you can use when you're making decisions, being a leader, about being a good person. But what about the framework? Like, how about this? What are the ingredients you found make a true community? Because it sounds like being able to be your true self is a critical one. Yeah. What else is it?
Tony taught me about core values, which they're the famous Zappos core values. Yeah. And so he insisted I write core values early on in my career. And I really do think my earlier companies didn't realize the success I had visioned because I did not have core values in place. Wow. Because core values empower you to just make logical choices rather than emotionally charged choices. Like, for example, if you have a teammate who is not being a team player and your core value is to respect one another's time, and this person is consistently an hour late, it's not that I don't like you. It's part of our core values is to respect one another's time. For, 2 months, you've been consistently 1 hour late. We've let you know. And that simply isn't the right culture fit. Yeah. And so I think that term culture is the most important core differentiator. It's why I'm a fanatic about the startup Beehive. I think they lead with a strong culture, both internally with the staff and externally with their customers, which is why they have such strong evangelism. Beehive is an email newsletter platform. So for me, early in my career, I wrote out my core values. What are my internal core values? What are the external core values? And so then when people come into my community, community, the invitation for them to be a part of community. Do you respect one another's time? Are you a collaborative person? Do you go into something with an agenda or not? Because if you go with an agenda, you are the wrong fit. Are you genuinely interested and based in Los Angeles? Because a lot of the community is about being LA based,
Right.
So
Yeah.
like, I just have a set of core values. Internally, we treat people like humans, not numbers. I don't care if someone is the biggest asshole in an email, like, have curious compassion. We don't know where they're coming from or
Right.
why they're flustered. And it is our job to lead with humanity. It doesn't mean we have to allow somebody to be negative toward us, but we don't have to be negative back.
Yeah.
We could set a boundary, be like, we hear you, we appreciate you, we feel you, and bye.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
And so I think core values are just essential in operating in a harmonious organization, and also filling our own cup so that we're not, completely diluting ourselves because we're so emotionally charged all the time.
Espree, one of the things you're saying is I think it leads to burnout a ton, where people have these expectations for how others are going to act.
Yeah.
But they don't make them into agreements.
Right.
And as a result, there's expectations that turns out are pretty toxic.
Right.
And agreements are very clear.
Yeah.
And there's, you ever heard of EOS, the Entrepreneurial Operating System?
Yes, I have.
Okay, awesome.
Yes.
I'm a big time nerd on that.
Oh, that's awesome.
In general, I'm a nerd, but especially on that. And they have this thing that they do in their regular reviews.
Yeah.
And what they do is they say, okay, we're going to give you, performance reviews.
Right.
But the ending is we're going to lay out the core values.
Right.
And we're going to rank you plus, minus, or minus.
Right.
And let's say you have 5 core values.
Yeah.
If 2 are negative,
yeah,
it's not a cultural fit.
Right.
And there's something about, I talk to founders all the time who say, hey, this is awesome and easy when you're like an 8-person squad in an apartment.
Yeah.
But when you scale as a business, when you scale as a community, how do you keep the integrity of the community? Because businesses are communities. I would argue that. And anyway, I love this because I think it's core values. I completely agree, are such a cornerstone.
Yeah.
So core values.
Yeah.
You mentioned genuine curiosity about others.
Yes.
I think you said.
Yes.
What does that mean? I want to hear more about that.
Curious compassion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just, it's something that I learned in therapy because I'm a pretty black and white person. And I'm like, I like you or I don't like you. Yeah. And he's like, there's a gray area. I'm like, there's not a gray area.
Yeah.
And I was in group therapy for a number of years. And shout out to Seth, my therapist. He's like amazing. And he taught me about curious compassion and listening. And in group therapy, I was able to see how there was one person in the group who knows, like, I didn't like her in the beginning. And then over time, I got to understand her story. And then I did really like her in the end.
Oh,
and so not just her, but so many different examples in that particular environment. And then that I was able to apply in the outside world. The power of curious compassion. And I think we wouldn't have so much animosity and chaos in our society today if we would all just take a moment to listen to one another and be curious and compassionate. Doesn't mean we need to agree. We could still completely have our own opinion and our own belief system. Nobody's trying to negate our belief system. Just listen to how someone else got to where they are today. That's it. Because maybe then we could feel compassion to at least like a level of understanding of why they see the world the way they see it.
Completely.
Yeah.
My wife is a sociocultural anthropologist professor.
Oh, nice.
And I can barely say that, let alone I can spell
it.
And she talks about the negative consequences of an other.
Yeah.
And this is exactly what you're talking about.
Yes.
Like so many, like I remember when the news headlines were all about this kind of like Mexican-US border, all the things happening that were so negative and all this.
Yeah.
You then go on the ground level and it turns out there's this little place in Nogales where they have this really strong local bond across the border because they have this issue where this river basically goes back up. And so the US takes all of this wastewater from the US, treats it and puts it in the river. And like, it's this beautiful thing locally. They're all working together. Everyone's totally cool because they're just people solving a problem together.
Yeah.
When you zoom out, it's like, oh, these are about to go to war. It's so bad. There's something so important about everyone's a human.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, you create these wonderful communities and they're with intention. So you're including certain people. You have core values.
Yeah.
There's all these components of it. But sometimes people can be a little introverted and maybe even be nervous to join a community. Like, what do you do?
So funny enough, I am an introvert. I really resonate with being introverted. And I love it. And this is my like hardcore introvert era. So my boundaries are like sky high. I think introverts actually value having meaningful conversation and one-on-one connection. So I think introverts would be the most outstanding community builders because they're in it for the right reasons. Whereas an extrovert also like is energized by the woo, like party, like theatrical, like it's kind of just like woo woo, like it's more about
it's shallow. Can be
the echo. I don't know. It's nothing. Love to my introverts. I mean, my extroverts, but like it's just being an extrovert is more about the raw, whereas like an introvert really just wants to be around for like a meaningful connection, which is the ethos of community. And I think being an introvert and getting so energetically exhausted the entirety of my career, but specifically in the last few years, so much burnout. I mean, I thought I would get over burnout and then I was still in burnout. You know, that kind of feeling where you can't even open an email, like even that just seems like so much.
I do.
And I started the journey of somatic healing where learning about breath work. I worked with Ben Smith for about a year. He's a performance coach. Amazing. He used to work with Rufus Du Sol. Like he's absolutely incredible. And like he taught me, we could do it right now, actually. I thought about this before. He taught me the VU breath. Have you heard of this?
I don't know.
It calibrates your nervous system. I don't know how the mics are going to do, but we're going to find out.
Let's do it.
And so you put your hand over your, I think it's your arm with your heart. I don't know. I always get this part wrong, but it doesn't matter. It's the point that counts. But then you do this thing. And I remember when I first did it, I was like, no, dude, you're crazy. I'm not doing this. This is so embarrassing. And now I love it. So you say VU out loud and it calibrates your nervous system.
VU?
So it goes like this. Ooh. And you calibrate your nervous system and then you just feel so much more chill.
Can I try that?
Yeah. We'll do it together. Ready? So 1, 2, 3. I love
it. That is incredible.
But the first time I was
like, what am I doing?
I was like, I'm not doing this out loud. That's crazy.
And
now I love it.
You know
yeah. But it's like, there's all these things like, so I experience, and I'm being very careful with my words. I think, before I would say I'm an anxious person. I'm not an anxious person. I experience anxiety from time to time, and maybe I won't experience it anymore one day. But currently I still experience anxiety. This morning I woke up thinking, so I wake up, I listen. There's this breathwork practitioner, actually that Ben recommended, named Lily B. I can't remember how to pronounce her last name, but Lily B. You could Google it. It's Lihi. And I listened to her breathwork. It's like 3 to 6 minutes sometimes. This one this morning, I chose a 14-minute one. And I start my day listening to Lily B to ground myself. I also have these frequency headphones that I put on. And I listen to those in the morning for a frequency state. I sometimes dunk my head in water because apparently cold water.
Yes.
Because apparently
calms your nervous system down.
Yeah. Parasympathetic. I don't know.
Yeah.
Ben taught me all these words. I still can't retain them.
Yeah.
But like it's like a life hack to like get you into the yummier state, you know?
Yes.
And so I do all these things now to nourish myself, so that when I serve, I'm serving from such a vibrant place of abundance. Like even when I arrived today, maybe before, like I made sure to breathe the whole way here because I was feeling anxious. And so I breathed the whole way. And then when I arrived, I genuinely wasn't concerned with anything. Like I wasn't concerned what time we started or anything. And it came from such an authentic place because I feel fucking great. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so like when you feel so fucking great, nothing matters. Like everything's fucking gravy. Like I got the best parking spot.
Yes.
Like last night, like my server was like, you have such a great vibe, where the restaurants decided to comp your dessert.
No.
I'm like,
amazing.
yeah. And in this book that I shared, Transurfing Reality, even the principle that I read today said what is it? The goal is myself, or something like that's what it was. I am the goal. Meaning that like when the world is my mirror, and when I pour love and vibrance into the world. The world is reflecting back to me what I am. So the dessert, the amazing mint tea, like being on the show, I am just reflecting back what I am putting out. And
totally.
yeah, and what I really love about this book specifically is I don't have to rely on metaphysical things for the idea of this like positive energy in my life. This book encourages that like merely having an intent and choice to put good into the world is all you need to create the world in which you want to live in.
Completely agree with that. There's we do a lot of the same stuff, by the way.
You and I?
Yeah, well, because like
you do somatic healing and all that.
Yeah. I do breathing techniques for sure. Like I've studied kind of where it came, like the oldest religions in the Indus Valley, and it manifests in pranayama and stuff. And I think that there is something so important to say about when you are putting a huge amount of very positive energy into bringing people together,
right,
to do this. And this is, you mentioned this world you're creating. This is the world you've created, and you've done it very intentionally.
Yeah. And
when you do this, there's a couple important things. One is knowing that just the energy of that desire starts to make it real.
Yeah.
But the second is, and we were talking about this a little bit outside, is you have to also make sure that you are ready for it.
Yeah.
And you're taking care of yourself.
Yes. Yeah.
And there's, I think, perhaps when you are playing a role that is focused so much on others, but how are they feeling? How are they coming together?
Yes.
There's a certain someone that can be forgotten.
Yeah. I think the most important thing I've learned in the last 2 months has been how powerful the power of choice is. I never understood this. I experienced a life event, and from the moment I experienced that life event, I've just made a series of choices, and all those choices have created a remarkable life for myself. But like, it wasn't anything metaphysical. It wasn't me trying to be something. It's just like waking up and being, I'm going to choose to click on Lily B and do that, brother. Like it's not trying to have a great morning routine. It's not trying to have the perfect workout. Mm-hmm. It's, if anything, I've let go of perfect work. I need to eat this many calories, and I need to work out like this, and I need to sleep this hours. Like, I'm not even wearing my Oura ring, like,
can I for 1 second say I think there's nothing more harmful to the human psyche than the idea of perfect.
Oh, and that's all that's projected, especially in this Instagram culture. One thing, specifically Instagram, that I also did in the power of choice is I noticed that scrolling Instagram was making me unhappy. I was like comparing myself. It was like negating that beautiful energy that I create. I'm like, so I have it. Like, so I just delete it from my phone. I put it back on, I don't know, every week or 2 weeks for 5 minutes just to like
check in.
Yeah. See if I missed a message from a friend or something. But the thing that, how we look to see how many people viewed us.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Like, who cares? Is that what success is? No. Right. Success is feeling phenomenal in the inside of our spirit and behind the walls of our home. Like, do we have phenomenal relationships? Do we have boundaries? Do we love ourselves? Do we feel vibrant when no one is looking? Because if we don't, that is what needs to be worked on. Who cares how many followers we have or how perfect our workout routine is? Because just like everybody I was watching this documentary of The Biggest Loser, and they all got their perfect bodies, and then within a few years they're back to where they started. Why is that? If you were able to attain this thing, it's like, if we don't feel good on the inside and we're not doing things like from the inside out, like Ben used to say, like, it's how your body feels that creates your thoughts, because that saying, like, thoughts lead to actions that lead to blah blah. I don't remember. I don't have it memorized. But then he educated me that there's actually scientific studies that it's like our state within our bodies like create what the thoughts are, and then the thought leads to action. So that's why talk therapy sometimes is questionable, because if we inherently don't feel ease and in that stable state within our body through breath work, through all the VU breath, these things, then of course our mind is going to become chaotic, and then we're going to start to, I have a history of binge eating, of like, you know, excessive YouTube watching, like just my life away. And all that stuff is just because I feel so uncomfortable with what's going on inside my body. I want to tap out. I just want to check out. I can't handle it. But like, what if we have all the tools to like love ourselves? Like right now I have to do taxes. I don't want to do taxes. Like I've been procrastinating that shit like crazy. Sure. But I'm like, Espree, can you put the papers in your bag? Just that. Can you just put the papers in your bag?
One step at a time.
Like one tiny micro step, like what is possible for me, because like of this big, the thing that's like freaking me out in the bigger projects is the thing in totality. But what if I don't have to think about the dream body? What if I just have to put on a pair of gym shorts? I don't even have to go to the gym. I don't even have to put on my sneakers. What if I could just start with the shorts, and then the next day it's the sneakers, and then, you know, it's like into incremental tiny baby steps, because when we have those little wins, they build up and they compound, like the making the bed theory. When we have those wins, it sets us up for success. And it shows our minds that like, oh, you're winning, you can win more.
There's so much there I'm like absolutely obsessed with. I think one of the things that leads to, at least in my experience, tremendous amounts of anxiety is the overwhelming of the idea of the problem, the size of it. And one of the things I've always found to be true is you can break down whatever the most complicated problem is. You can always break it down into simpler and simpler parts until it feels manageable. And then you start getting little wins, and the momentum starts to build, and you start solving the problem.
100%.
Another thing, I love this. I had this kind of this funny thing I read somewhere that said, if you feel angry at the world, eat. And if you feel like the world is against you, sleep.
Interesting. I've never heard that before.
It's kind of related. It's like totally like if you feel your body's sending you some weird messages, like that's also part of this.
I think I was overhearing a conversation the other day where everything this person was saying was no, not possible, no, not possible, no, not possible. It wasn't related to me. I just overheard the conversation. And I was like, I wonder if this person understands that they're creating their reality of lack of possibility.
That's right.
And so if one is angry at the world, which I've definitely been angry at the world in being a community person for so long, I got extremely resentful. Like all I do is give, and like all people do is take. It's all transaction, like the whole book Give and Take. And you know, like I was so resentful for so many years because I couldn't understand why I wasn't being replenished. I wasn't being replenished because I wasn't replenishing myself. And again, if this book has any merit, if life is a mirror, then if I'm not replenishing myself, why would anybody even be inspired to replenish me or see an example of what it is to replenish me? Like it all has to start with loving yourself first. And I had a really hard time learning how to do that. I know that's what's love yourself like your life depends on it.
Yes.
I don't know. I tried to look at that. It didn't work for me. I also probably didn't apply the whole thing. I think it's actually really difficult to love yourself. Like, I think it's a really fucking difficult thing. And I wouldn't know how to tell someone to get there other than like life is as easy as making a series of choices. Like that's it.
You mentioned, if you want to talk about it, you had this life event happen. And it sounds like it's changed your relationship with yourself.
100%. I am fucking amazing.
I love that. Yes, exactly. And like, the thing is, that's, you know, and by the way, as we're talking about this, I can't help but think I have I won't say who, I have a family member who has deep depression and anxiety. And this person means a lot to me, and I interact with them a lot, and they have what I call like a failure to launch. They just everything felt impossible. They couldn't do it, couldn't make progress. They're so angry at me because I'm there. But because, you know, I am working in this system which is designed against them, and I'm, you know, in their mind successful. And you know, I think there's so much wisdom in what you're talking about here, Espree, and that like there is no place you cannot slowly make progress.
With your friend who's depressed, and I have friends the same who I care for deeply. I don't think one can choose to be happy, because if I was able to choose to be happy, I would have been able to do that. I read every self-help book, went through years of therapy, like tried all the things. Like, I just don't think it's as simple as choosing to be happy. I think that's a really like convoluted way, at least in my journey. I think it's about the choice to do the breath work session, the choice. And sometimes it feels really impossible to like get out of bed.
Totally.
And so what if you could just like stick one leg out? You know what I mean? It's just like, it's like finding that very, very, very micro step that is possible. I remember I used to live in Italy, and I had.
Are you Italian?
No.
Okay.
I've lived in a lot of places, but I used to live in Italy, and at this time I had it was a really long time ago, and I had a really difficult things happening in my life, and I ended up finding this social worker who was kind of like a therapist. I'm not really sure. Her profession was social worker, so I don't remember how I ended up there, but I was trying to get myself help, and I was like, I can't do anything, like. And she's like, I was like, I can't even brush my teeth or whatever, and it was her that said, just put your hand on the brush and then bring the breath to your mouth and then move it. It was like breaking down the steps to that micro level. And even when you're really in a severely depressed state, even that feels hard, even the micro levels. And just knowing that we all have the power of choice, and we don't have to be happy instantaneously. And it's not something like, oh, I'm not happy. Like that was such a frustrating concept for me before I fell in love with myself. Was like, why can't I just get happy? Yeah. I've tried so hard. And then I get angrier. Like, why am I not happy yet? You know, like
that's sorry, I'm laughing. That's hard. That's really hard.
Right?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
But I don't know what to tell someone to unlock the state that I now get to enjoy. But it is such a better life to be madly in love with myself and feel such a profound sense of beautiful self-worth than to hate myself. And I hated myself. I'll share a personal story. I've wrote about this publicly. Like, my father, who I was really close to, randomly like exited my life, and I don't know why, and hasn't been the most pleasant to in that. And I love my father unconditionally. I hope he's doing well. And also for years I was like, well, if my dad like doesn't love me, like, and he used to love me and now he doesn't, like, there's obviously, I'm not lovable, right? Like, and I just could not get past that for so many years. I just felt like stuck in this, I'm not lovable, I'm not worthy. I can't date because I'm not lovable or worthy. I don't deserve to succeed because I'm not lovable or worthy. I don't deserve to have money come in because I'm not lovable or worthy. I don't deserve to have a nice body or a healthy body or a blah, 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 blah. My house can't even have people over because why should I have any relationships? Because I'm such a burden of a human. My own father like doesn't want to know me, you know? And now like he's just a human being making his own choices for whatever reason that I can't possibly understand. And that's just him, and it has zero to do with me. Like, he is missing out on a fucking phenomenal person. But I couldn't talk my way into that. It's just been a series of action-based choices. So not to do with emotion, like action-based choices. Like, I keep going back to like the breath work, but there's several things, even the frequency headphones that I talked about, whatever it is for each one of us, taking a walk outside, feeling the sun on our skin,
whatever
but
makes
like
you feel
things
good.
that are tangible, not emotionally based, you know, that have led to this state of profound self-worth. And it's just such a better existence.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think self-worth is kind of this version of mental safety.
Yes.
Hugely.
Yes.
And one of the things that I love about, you know, you're telling the story about like one of these elite founders who's got all these incredible VCs who said, you know, actually, Espree, like your community is where I feel the most safe.
Yes.
And there's
just so trippy. That's crazy.
Hopefully it makes you really pumped. You know?
Oh yeah,
it's
but
awesome.
It's just like when you have access to the most noteworthy investors, and you're like, your thing. I'm like, what? Like,
yeah, it's great. It means it's real.
Yeah.
And so there was this Google's Project Aristotle studied 180 teams and found that the number one predictor of the team's success, it wasn't IQ, it wasn't seniority, it wasn't tenure, it was the team members felt psychologically safe.
Oh, nice.
Which is so interesting. And it meant they felt safe to speak up, to share ideas. They didn't believe they'd be ridiculed.
Yeah.
And so there's something, you know, I think there's a duality here, which like all things, which is, you know, in order to show up for others, you have to believe in yourself and have that self-worth. And that is like the bedrock of life in so many ways. And it's hard. It's really hard, especially when things
100%.
I'm not preaching to the choir here.
Yeah.
But then also when you're with others that allow you to be yourself and express yourself and you don't fear any negative, you know, pushback from it, there's something really meaningful there about allowing good things just to come from that exchange. And so I guess, you know, I think about women in tech as a great example.
Yeah.
There is a time, and it's almost unthinkable now, testament to people like you who are making this, where like women, it was like they were ridiculed if they wanted to know math or go into science or build cars or do engines. Now it's like badass.
Yeah.
But I guess here's a question is, early on, what do you think some of the things were that you put into the spaces? Maybe it was values.
Yeah.
That led to psychological safety for people to be attracted to these things that maybe like were new to be attracted in their minds.
Oh, yeah. I mean, what got me into tech was my father's influence. He had like a home office and I would play on his computer and stuff.
Cool.
So I don't think values came into play. He was an early adopter of technology. So all that interest in the tech world came with his influence. He got me my first video camera.
Oh,
and,
great.
I had an iPad. I think IBM, not iPad, IBM ThinkPad.
Oh yeah.
You know? Yeah. So that's where my interest in technology started. The values didn't come till later, and I think they really came with influence from Tony Hsieh educating me on the importance of values, and also just my own experience when I built my company and I raised money. So many people like vultures came out of the woodwork to get a piece of like what I raised.
Really?
And me not believing in myself and not having self-worth and all that. I'm like, well, there's no way I'm smart enough. There's no way that, you know, I could know the answer. So let me make sure all these other people tell me what to do, because like I didn't trust my own intuition at the time. And then going through the pain of in end realizing that the power was within myself that whole time and I just didn't recognize it. I wanted to create an atmosphere to champion people believing in themselves and their own power. Hence, if she can do it, so can I.
Yes.
It's not only the example of, you know, what's possible, but it's also like you don't need anyone else. You have it within you to achieve what you want to achieve. And so I think it was, to answer your question, it was just inspired by my own pain of not believing in myself and wanting to make sure that every, you know, person that I come across truly believes that they have the power within themselves to create the reality they'd like to create, like turn their dreams into reality, whether it's in business or in life or whatever it may be.
I love that.
This world really, I was talking to this new woman I just met. She's so cool. Her name's Jen. And she was talking about something that she's trying to do in her business. And I sent her a voice note this morning. I was like, there are no rules, Jen. Like the blogs, the experts, when I raised money, totally, I didn't have a meeting. I met with Sequoia Capital with no meeting, no relationship. If I had read any blog or expert, they would have told me it's not possible. Well, I'm sorry. It was possible for me. And I just walked in, you know?
You just literally walked into the office?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yes.
You're like, hey, I'm a founder. I want to raise money.
Yes.
Who do I talk to?
Yes.
Who did you talk to first?
Oh, I won't say.
Okay.
But we could, just to be respectful of him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the story goes that I read the Sequoia Capital website and all the bios, and I sent cold emails to everybody, and no one responded. And they had a thing of how to write a business plan. So I studied it and wrote my business plan and flew to San Francisco, borrowed my friend's car, drove to Silicon Valley. I was sitting in my car, sweating balls. Like I was sweating profusely.
Yeah, for sure.
I was like, what is wrong with me? Like, this is insane. And my co-founder at the time was like, you got this, take one for the team, like team as in society in itself, and I walked in, and this name that I had emailed had been resonating with me just over and over, and your intuition, right? It was just like resonant. And so I walked in and I asked for that person, and the secretary's like, is he expecting you? I'm like, well, I sent the email, which is true. And he came out and had a meeting, and it changed my life. And
no way.
So and then even, sponsorship arrangements with my podcast, things that aren't possible. Well, they've been possible for me. Like, everybody tells you what the right way to do something is, or what the expert way. But the truth is, there are literally no rules. Like, you could raise money. Like, everybody will say, oh, you can't raise money right now. Well, maybe you're the one person who can, like there just really are no rules to this life at all.
I do love this. I love this. I'm going to try to pull back to this, idea of kind of community building, because there's this thing that I think is very common, especially in the American narrative, which is rugged individualism.
Yeah.
And there is an element which is it's true. It was you went and you sat in that parking lot, and you went in there and you got it done, and there are no rules.
All choices.
It's all choices.
Yeah.
But there's also the kind of the other side of it, which is that, I'm gonna read. I'm gonna see if I have the study here. I should think. Yeah. So if you kind of break down cultures across the world, it turns out that when there is more of a community focus, wonderful things tend to happen.
Yes.
And so one of my favorite examples is there's a state called Kerala in India, which is south. I can do this math. West. And it is known for being this very, very community-driven state in India. It is the most impoverished by far, has the lowest infant mortality, highest literacy rates, highest happiness of anywhere in India. And so I think one of the things that is confusing for me, maybe I think for a lot of folks, is you have this idea that you have to be like this maverick individual who gets it done.
Right.
But then you have proven now over a very amazing career so far of the power and positive benefits of when you do work together with community.
Yeah.
How it helps out. And so how do you balance these two concepts? Because they feel I don't think they're opposed.
Yeah.
But I'm still trying to grapple with it.
Years ago, I read this book, which I'm sure you've probably read, Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl.
No, I need to read this. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I read and I was probably doing community work before then. I don't remember. I mean, because I've been doing it the entirety of my career. But I remember when I read this book, it's about a guy who survived the Holocaust and how he did that psychologically. And it's about your life being a larger purpose, that serving a larger purpose than just for yourself. And so he married himself. I actually want to reread the book because I don't remember it exactly anymore. But as far as I remember, he married himself to the purpose larger than himself, which is what enabled him to survive the Holocaust. When I read that book, I'm like, well, what is the purpose larger than myself that's going on here of why I show up to my work? So for me, community is my life's work. It's why I was put here. Because the transparency is it's been a very difficult journey. I think community builders are some of the most undervalued professionals.
Totally.
We're also the most self-sacrificing group. We have the most difficulty with boundary setting. We're highly empathetic, so we overgive to maybe transactional people that don't want to replenish us. And it could create states of resentment or confusion, just really energetically depleting states. So why be in a profession that has this kind of ethos? And the reason is there's this, I just went to this lecture. Have you heard of the new thing, Lectures on Tap? Where they do these lectures in New York, San Francisco, Los Angeles. Okay. Anyway, I just went to one. And it was about how to survive brain rot. And
I need to go. Yeah.
One interesting study that this professor shared was if you have a team meeting, 20 engineers on a Zoom call, they are significantly less creative than if they're 20 engineers in person in community. Like there's a significant difference in the ability to be creative versus in person and versus on a Zoom meeting.
Interesting.
I thought that was so fascinating. And a lot of the other points that this professor had made, it just revalidated for me how important my life's work is, no matter how difficult it has been in the past. And I don't think it will be so difficult in the future because I'm in a different state now. But no matter how difficult it's been in the past, it's so important that I serve this connective bread of humanity, so that people have those environments to be more creative, to feel more fulfilled. People live longer when they have relationships. People are privately happier. Like all these things happen in true, genuine connection. And the internet and social media are trying to, as much as it's promoted that they're for connection, they're actually for disconnection. And so the more work that I do to foster that in-person safe culture, the more of a domino effect it will have in spreading across.
Completely agree.
And I'm making my own little mark, hence living a life that's a bigger purpose than just for myself. And one of the things that I've found frustrating but reality of being in the community space was when I discovered, because We Are LA Tech, that's the name of my organization. The we in We Are LA Tech was so important to me. Like it was never about me. It's about the we. And what I discovered is that, at least in my experience, every community needs a leader. Or they just don't self-organize. It's really annoying to me. Just self-organize, you people.
You need a ringleader.
Yeah, you need a leader. And I was like, but to me, that went against the ethos of we. And so I had to rediscover what that means. And will I recommit to being a leader even though it's not the vision I had intended? And how do I fit into that? And then I think over the years that led to, yes, being really proud of my work, and also being completely burnt out and resentful. And so now from this new energized state, I just think I'm going to be able to serve my purpose that much more. I remember before I had this life transition, I said, and this is why I embarked in doing somatic healing and all this. I said, the most frustrating thing about what I'm going through is that I can't serve my life's purpose because I'm in my own way and I don't know how to get out of my way. And I'm so frustrated because I know what my life's purpose is and I can't do the thing because I don't even want to get out of bed.
I want to talk about the importance of community building, the importance of your work. So I saw this study recently that was a study of 12th graders.
Yeah.
And it showed the percentage of 12th graders in the 1970s and 80s that would go out to parties more than 2 times a week.
Yeah.
And it was 70 or 80%.
Yeah.
That number has now dropped to 10%.
Yeah, it's awful.
And we have a party problem in the USA.
Yes.
I
caught
despite the song.
I thought that was really cute. Yeah.
And the reality of the fact is, as you said, people... like self-organizing, it takes so much more calories than just sitting down and watching one more episode of Foundation, which is pretty fun. I get dopamine, or just sitting in the gram or looking at YouTube. Yeah. And for what it's worth, I am now leading a company, Boom Pop, and the whole goal is to bring people together. And the whole idea is if you can reduce the friction to get people together, more people will do it. Yeah. That's the core thesis. And so I look at this, you're talking about this necessity to kind of marry yourself, and this incredible story of this person who made it through one of the worst things that's ever happened to humanity, because they married themselves to a larger purpose. And I think there's something there that's important, which is it is work to be a community organizer. Yes. It's a lot of work. Yeah. And it can often be overlooked. Yeah. It can be unsung heroes. I mean, there's so many things you have to do. The stress comes into it. But it is almost undeniably the thing that has led to, and this is not, I think, a gross overstatement, the advancement of our kind. Yes. People, when they get together, are more creative. Yes. They support one another. Yes. They all feel better. Like there are studies that show that lifelong introverts, when they are put into a community setting and asked to do extroverted things over and over again, love it.
Yeah.
And are happier because you have this supportive group, and
Right.
that fear of rejection, it turns out, is unfounded. And then, like, people, like the average person, like, I flew here in a plane office this morning. I always talk to the person next to me.
Yeah.
Because, like, I've never in my life, and I've flown a lot, ever had someone be like, I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
But still, you can feel nervous about it. And the community feels this, it like shows you that's true.
Right.
And so anyway, I guess like in a roundabout way, in addition to saying, I love what you're doing, and I'm so grateful you're doing this work on this earth.
I'm so excited you're doing the Don't Be a Jerk podcast.
Is how do you help people dispel the myth that you have to do it by yourself? I mean, I think you should love yourself, all the things you talked about, and you should have that, I'm a force of nature, but most big things happen together.
Yeah, I mean, to that point, and it's a big point to kind of like conclude on, but it's so important. When I went through my life event, the hardest thing a couple months ago, the hardest thing for me to do was to share with anyone what I was experiencing. And actually, shout out to Seth, my therapist, was like, it is essential for your survival that you share with a small group of friends. And I'm like, essential? He's like, essential. And I'm like, bet, I'm on it. And it took me a while to build up the courage to share with my inner circle. But in end, I did. And because of their profound pouring of love and support into me, it was the first time in my life that I've truly felt seen. And I have craved feeling seen. No matter how many professional accolades or things that I've gotten throughout my life, I've never felt seen.
Wow.
I remember my 10-year anniversary for my company, this main speaker at my event said, "What would you like?" I literally answered, "To feel seen." Wow. And not even there, after 10 years of having a company, which is already hard to do, I still didn't feel seen. And now I feel so abundantly seen, just so seen. And it's thanks to, being open and vulnerable with my inner circle, creating that community and allowing myself to receive their love. And so when we try to go about saying that we could do this on our own, we don't need the relationships, we're strong enough, or we don't want to burden someone else, our true people, they want to show up. They want the honor of showing up as part of our journey. And the people who don't simply aren't for us. And nothing wrong with them, but we just filter themselves out because it is the best life to be surrounded by people who truly feel like amazing being a part of your journey, no matter it being a celebration or a challenge.
Espree, that is so profound. Can I just say it back to you?
Yeah.
People desperately want to be the person that is called upon to help.
Yes.
What a beautiful idea.
Yeah.
This is so good. Thank you for that. Seriously, that's so powerful. Okay, so last question. I can't believe it's already been 40 minutes or however long it's been.
This is so cool.
It's really great. I have thousands of notes. So let's say that there was someone who could go back in the Wayback Time machine.
Yeah.
And early in your career, give you some advice about what it takes to build community or what this means.
Yeah.
What would it be?
I wish I could have understood what it meant to take care of myself. Like, I think the biggest thing I would have really pushed into to be more like tactical would be two things. Teaching myself boundary setting. Like, what does boundary mean? Ben had shared boundaries aren't to keep people out. They're to show people where the door is open to invite them in.
That's great.
That really spoke to me.
That is great.
Because I don't want to be an asshole keeping people out.
Totally.
So
you're giving them guidance.
Yeah. So boundary setting is something I would have learned because I didn't know it inherently. It's not something I grew up with. And then the other one, processes. The other thing that I would have liked to lean into and really been an expert and prioritized is creating processes. Processes is something we always overlook because we're just like, especially creatives, we're doing the thing, we're figuring it out, we're taking a lot of action. But then it's a shit show, and everything's messy. And processes create so much harmony and ease and profitability and being able to discover where the leaky buckets are, what's not working, what is working, what has the highest impact, which it isn't really delivering value. So processes and and boundaries are the two key points I would have really leaned into prioritizing and educating myself on early in my career to have a much stronger, stable, energized future.
I love that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Espree, thank you so much. Okay, so final question is I think everyone knows this, but just in case, how do people find you if they want to get in touch?
Oh my gosh. You could email espree@hey.com,
Okay.
ESPRE@HEY.com, or anywhere on social media at Espree Devora.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you so much for having me.
This is so good.
And don't be a jerk.